Hi, it's John Glynn, and in this session, Photoshop Elements. This is Photoshop Elements 20, but this is going to be on much earlier versions as well, and other versions of Photoshop. I'm just using a PC and a mouse. Today, in the Layers panel, which I've got open, I'm going to be looking at the this little icon here, actually, which is Lock Transparent Pixels option. Okay. So what I'm going to do is create a blank layer. So create a new layer, and you can see that these are empty pixels at the moment in the top here. And I'm going to draw a marquee on it. I'm going to give myself a bit of a border. Not going to be very precise. That's not the purpose of this particular thing, to be precise, just to give you an indication of how this works. I'm going to create a border, so I'm going to go to Edit and Stroke the selection, and I'm just going to use the black ink that's already there. Say OK, and I've now got myself a black border to my photograph. Okay, I can now deselect, so I'm going to select, deselect, so I no longer have the marquee. Okay. If I go to Paint now, and I paint on here with my mouse, I'm just using a PC and a normal mouse, you can see I'm painting. That's not necessarily what I want to do. I may want to change the colour of this border without having to paint on everything else. So I'm going to just turn off the background pictures and see what's happening here with my pixels. Okay, I've got a brush. I can paint, but that's not what I'm looking for. So I'm going to undo those two options, and this time again I'm going to turn off the background, and this time I'm going to just click on Lock Transparent Pixels, because if you can see checkerboard, it means it's transparent, so all the pixels in the middle are transparent. Okay, and if I paint now and hold down my mouse, nothing happens in the middle there. It's not painting. It's telling me I'm using it, paintbrush, brush tool, brush tool, brush tool in the history palette, but it's not painting. So I'm going to change my color here from black, and I'm going to create a red border and say OK. And now what I can do instead is put my mouse over the top of the red border, and you can see what it's now doing. I can paint in that border with red, but it's not impacting any of the other pixels. Okay, whilst if it wasn't on, I'll just click it again, it turns it off, and I paint, you can see that I can paint anywhere, and then it will be very difficult to paint in the border. Okay, so it's handy for doing borders and any artwork. Really, it's a graphics tool rather than a photographic tool, but it's very useful for borders and so on. So if you click it on, just one click with the left mouse key will turn it on. You can go in, change the colour of the border, maybe go for a nice yellow and say OK, and now I've got a yellow border. So I can do this as often as I like and paint, and knowing that it's not going to affect anything else in the that I'm drawing out, and I can then turn on the back picture, and I've now got a yellow border. Okay, so it's worth having a go at using this, just to get again an understanding of how this is working. But remember, if you've got that little box in here, it means that these transparent pixels in the middle, which are you can see through, are not active. Okay, so you can't paint on them. But if they've got that little box off, so it's no longer there, it becomes immediately active. Okay, so it's so that you can control aspects of your pixels that you're using in the actual in this particular layer. That's what you're doing. You're just painting on pixels rather than painting on no pixels, if you like. So it's worth getting an understanding of how that works. Just one click, lock transparent pixels, on it comes. Now I can't paint. Simple as that. But if I wish to paint, I can change the colour, say OK, and away I go. Okay, so have a go with that. It's quite simple to use and quite an effective little thing to understand. Okay then, thanks very much for watching.